Denmark is on its way to being CO2 neutral by 2025. Achieving this goal means going electric. Smart brought me to Copenhagen to check out what a sustainable green ecosystem looks like and to see if going green is more convenient. Copenhagen is a city of 1.3 million, and it's working on being one of the most cycle-friendly cities in the world. And going electric is at the center of its sustainable movement. Last year, Denmark officially has more electric charging stations than they do petrol stations. And I drove the Smart around Denmark to test the charging system. We were armed with all the local payment cards, and whenever we went looking for a charging station, we had absolutely no problem hooking up. There were no lines, and there was always a spot free. Like many cities, you're also able to pay for parking with an app. We were using Easy Park, which had a bit of trouble with GPS positioning, which means that if you paid for parking and you didn't pick the right spot, you were going to get charged. But where Copenhagen starts to get really interesting is just how pervasive electrification has already become. GoBoat is all electric, and 80% of the rentals are from locals. This isn't a tourist thing. In the summer, the reservations are long, so you're lucky to get a boat. And the boats themselves are made out of recycled materials. And they've actually lowered the speed of the electric motors because the point in getting on the water is to socialize. Sightseeing and getting around is just an added bonus. If you thought electric boats were cool, wait until you see the all-electric ferry that travels between Denmark and Sweden. The pair consumes the highest amount of green energy on the entire grid. The city had to make an investment to get these ferries going green. They had to lay 3 kilometers of cable, and they had to commit to finding the green energy to power the boats. The infrastructure demands of such a product is an ecosystem thing. It's not one company deciding that they want to do it. It takes 20 minutes to pass back and forth between the piers, and they have 8 and 12 minutes to recharge on either side. This means they need to move a lot of power very quickly to the batteries that sit on top of the boat. The ferries have the option to run on diesel since they need to do maintenance once a month, and they can do 2 runs on one charge just in case something goes wrong at one end. And when you see how they're charged, there's actually a lot of room for error. ABB has 2 robots that attach the charging ports. It was a massive undertaking to get these to work properly since the boat is a moving target, and typically these types of robots work in a factory where targets are static. They say this was the hardest part about getting these electric ferries going. The energy supplied is from wind, water, and solar, and the cells are changed, leaving the batteries intact to minimize the environmental impact. Everything I'd experienced was part of a plan laid 25 years ago when Copenhagen was on the verge of bankruptcy. 3 major projects brought the city back to life: the metro, Terminal 3, and a bridge between Copenhagen and Malmö. Copenhagen and Malmö have a combined population of 3.8 million and consider themselves to be a cross-national region. People in Malmö commute to Copenhagen as the salaries are a bit higher in Denmark and the cost of living is lower in Malmö. The bridge created a new economic zone, expanding the capacity and capabilities of Copenhagen. Small countries can be first movers, as their size and population makes them agile. But Denmark chose the egg before the chicken. They built the infrastructure and are now just waiting for the rest of us to catch up. As more countries begin to take a zero-emissions future seriously, it's easy to see how building the infrastructure will inspire your population to go green. And special thanks to Smart for providing me with the all-electric 4.2 to drive around Denmark and Sweden. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. I'm your host, Nicole Scott for Mobile Geeks.